Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning to our audience. Today's webinar was planned to help attendees gain a better understanding of the features and functions of Oracle Tax Reporting Cloud Service. It is hosted by Deborah O'Connell, Principal Solutions Manager, and Mike Pilch, Director, both from Edgewater Ranzel. Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Good morning, and thank you for joining. Today, I'll spend some time talking about Tax Reporting Cloud Service, also known as TRCS, and Deborah will provide a short demo of the capabilities of the application. Next slide, please. So I think, and I think many tax professionals that are on the webinar today would probably agree, a large misconception of tax is the single calculation for the provision each reporting period is the only responsibility that tax professionals have. Something that's calculable and fairly standard. However, the provision is one of several reporting period requirements, as well as other ad hoc problems and items that need to be addressed over the course of the year. The tax department deals with many reporting requirements, including the country-by-country reporting, as well as footnotes for multiple accounting bases, regulatory requests, and also strategic decisions. There are many complexities due to new tax code or legislation. Tracking and understanding the changes for those estimates or performers to provide the C-suite with understanding of what the impact might be. And that's followed up with obviously the implementation of any kind of new changes or standards. There are obviously new reporting requirements that are coming out. The FASB is rolling out new issues each day, including the most recent, yesterday there was, the new insurance standard. Not always, but many times, these changes create tax differences and complexities that need to be evaluated and understood. There's plenty of scrutiny within the tax bureaus and agencies as well that the tax department has to handle regarding the return, transfer pricing, apportionment, or other analysis that's required. But many times this is done in Excel, which creates risks and problems with being able to trace and understand the complexities of the issue. Many times those Excel workbooks include macros, complex formulas or calculations, and it becomes difficult to manage and maintain without utilizing consultants. With all of this, what ifs and issues, tight deadlines are difficult to meet and often are missed. Next slide, please. The common model, which I'm including as Excel, includes data from various sources, many ERPs, consolidation tools such as FCCS or HFM, and tax packages that include granularity that you wouldn't necessarily see in the ERP or within normal tax solutions. It's transactional type data. It could also include one-off items that happen at the end of the year or end of the quarter that have not been found a permanent home within your ERP or within your consolidation tool or even your tax reporting package. It can also include non-templatized or standardized reports or collections that come from various reporting offices into the whole consolidated provision or reporting process. It's often found to be included with hidden rows and columns or cells that were whited out, making the FEC or other component analysis a significant manual effort, as well as the analysis that's needed to provide the provision and reporting requirements each period. I've seen non-financial data entered into, or non-final financial data entered into the provision process, which also creates complexities and errors. The lack of security, uniformity, and automation is one other issue that comes up to mind. But there's also when multiple members are trying to work within a single file, it becomes a bottleneck when there's issues with sharing the file. It's difficult to itemize workflow and checklists of where you are in the progress utilizing Excel, and there's a workflow within TRCS. Again, when you're dealing with all these complexities and these issues, it's difficult to meet the timeline to meet the quarterly reporting requirements as well as the annual process. Next slide, please. So there's value in the solution of TRCS. And the value is that it drives confidence. It meets the challenging reporting requirements for multi-jurisdictional reporting and multi-accounting basis reporting. It provides transparency with drill back and visual aids to provide an understanding of risk mitigation or a feel point for where you are in the process. It reduces costs because it is flexible and is able to adapt to changes to provide valuable reports for the audit process, as well as checks and balances and the transparency to understand source data to drill back. It also increases automation with a collaborative environment where finance and tax can work together, provides a workflow to understand the percentage completion or bottlenecks within the provision process or reporting process, as well as any kind of risk or reporting requirement processes. Additionally, it provides audit flags and calculations to provide insight so that management can make decisions as necessary. Finally, it provides pre-built reporting that we customize for your reporting requirements. Obviously, there's many industries, there's many different requirements within those industries, or even with management teams to understand the data or the output. So there's opportunity here to enhance the tax experience with dashboards and additional analysis as well. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, TRCS is an out-of-the-box solution to meet the provision and reporting needs. It's not just the provision process. With the capabilities of workflow, tax workpapers, dashboard, and reporting and provision, TRCS offers an improved tax process, combining several challenges into a single solution. While it is built in Oracle's Financial Consolidation Cloud Service, also known as FCCS, and integrates with this is not a requirement for implementing TRCS. As I mentioned, TRCS has the capability to integrate with many sources to collect the appropriate level of data for the provision and reporting processes. For those not familiar with SmartView, it's an add-on to Excel and has a touch and feel to pull data and review, while Financial Reports is the tool for standardizing reports. It both includes this capability. Next slide, please. So to provide a quick view of the on-prem solutions that Oracle offered versus the cloud solution, Hyperion Tax Vision, also known as HTP, was for the tax revision process, as well as some country-by-country reporting and the process control. Hyperion Tax Governance, HTG, was for workflow and tax workpapers, and FDME, Financial Data Management, which is for integrating data to the entity application. So previously, you'd have to buy the 3 solutions in order to get the complexity and opportunity within the solution of TRCS. So this gives you a brief overview of the offering between on-prem versus cloud. Next slide, please. Now, going back to the tax revision process, within TRCS, it offers a controllable environment, something that's efficient to create automation and is audible, because you're able to trace back and understand where the data is coming from and how the data is sourced to your application. So basically a source destination approach. It also templatizes your approach. It helps various tax department professionals input data in a standardized approach so that individuals are not working with individual Excel files to bring into a consolidated approach for the tax provision process. Like I said, the automation is the calculation of temp and perm differences, as well as other tax components that might be specific to your industry, or might be specific to what your company is doing on a 1F transaction or within any kind of merger or other transactional need. Again, it's built for multi-jurisdictional and reporting standards. GAAP and IFRS are noted, but it can be functional for other reporting bases. And of course, it's scale for future growth. So as the company moves and company changes, it's able to scale to that and create an opportunity for future review of tax needs, but also maintain that historical integrity to not change any of your roll forwards or any of your calculations that you had in the previous periods. So the automation of tax account roll forward is obviously critical to understand what your beginning balance is, the components of that beginning balance, and understand how you came to that amount. Now, going back to the multiple jurisdiction reporting standards as well, that will help to understand any kind of GAAP to stat differences or any kind of multi-jurisdictional reconciliations that might be needed. Next slide, please. Within the tax workpapers, you're able to understand the details of what you're trying to provide into your provision process. So it might be your NOLs, it could be your FTC, your VAT, anything that's specifically at a detailed level that you're housing today with an Excel model that you're driving into your provision process. You can build into the application to house it all in a single solution and be able to drill back and understand where that data came from. Additionally, you're able to report off this and understand the complexity and the needs of those items within your full provision process. Next slide, please. Now, again, drill back capabilities, something that's really critical for your audit approach and dealing with your auditors or dealing with any kind of requests from regulators or even the IRS. So it allows you the opportunity to drill back into the solution and understand where the data is coming from, the source, to itemize it, to understand how that rolls up into your full provision process, which ultimately rolls into your return. So your RTA, as well as the critical area to understand how those differences impact the RTA or RTP, whichever way you acronym it. And it also can be used to track the uncertain tax provisions, R&D, or any other similar transaction like I mentioned. Next slide, please. Now with data management, you're able to see where the data comes from, see the source to the application, and also look at it from a standpoint of understanding what your FIN 18 from your estimated tax rate, or anything that you need to layer in from a discrete perspective. So you're able to see the source of those changes, the source, the impact from the FIN 18 reconciliation, anything from your ETR that you're working through, as well as understand your legal entity structure. So if you have a lower set of data that rolls up to a jurisdictional legal entity view within your ERP or your EPM solution, you're able to see that approach within data management. It gives you the view and understanding of how the pieces roll up to one, so you're able to reconcile back and understand between the different solutions or different applications you have, how they report up. It also shows your reporting standards, being your accounting bases, whether it's GAAP, STAT, IFRS, etc. It gives you an understanding of how that reconciles out. And again, it gives you an idea of your tax types, such as regional, national. It could go down state, cantonal, or federal, but it could go down to a different level than that if you needed. Next slide, please. Now the reporting, like I mentioned, the out-of-box solution offers reporting to meet the needs for the provision in the country-by-country reporting. Now that reporting is out of the box, but you can also customize it as needed to meet the needs of your management or any kind of reports that you need for your specific field points. So the options are within SmartView, as well as financial reports and dashboards. And dashboards really give you an idea of a visual aid to see where you are in the process, also to see how your provision looks from your source of the estimated amount due. You also be able to customize, like I said, and also meet any of the needs for interactive reports and drill downs. Next slide, please. Now, the country-by-country reporting, that's obviously an issue for some organizations, not all at this point. It's templatized. It's able to bring in data from various applications and solutions. It's a way to see the data in a standardized approach and control the environment to make sure that as data being submitted in, it's being submitted in a standardized approach. You're not working with various reports from various jurisdictions or individuals who have put together the data in different formats. It's pre-built to meet these requirements. Next slide, please. Now, again, going back to the dashboards, it's pre-built and configurable. There's out-of-the-box KPIs, but obviously you can build in your own KPIs as necessary. And also your own reports to give you that feel point. Now, I think one of the things that's good in this is the idea around the risk mitigation. To understand if there's too much revenue in one location, but not enough employees to support those financial statements. So it gives you an idea if you need to move the revenue to appropriately align to ensure that you aren't running into a situation where you're going to receive the questions from the authorities or the agencies. And it also gives you a feel point for where you are in the process to understand your workflow, understand if there's any bottlenecks or any kind of issues that you're running into in your provision process. It also gives you an idea of who's submitted and where you can continue to focus your effort at that point in time. Next slide, please. Now with workflow. Workflow is another area where it gives you an idea of where the process might have a bottleneck, where the process needs to be maybe put a little more pressure on. Maybe it gives you an idea of what maybe needs additional resources. So it offers the opportunity to look at the complete tax process from whether it's month end, year end, or quarter end. Doesn't matter. It could also look at the tax return filing process where you are in that return preparation, or also controversy management, dealing with anything from an audit standpoint, understanding what the deadlines are for reporting to that authority, the deadlines for any kind of comments you need or any kind of details you need in that process. Additionally, it could set up a workflow for transfer pricing. Since that's an annual review, you can set up the review to understand when you will have that due and what the due dates are along the process, or any other deliverables that you might have. Now, again, this is auditable. It provides segregation of duties, and it's transparent calculations to give you an understanding of where that's coming from, how this is all being calculated. And for the dashboard side, it provides an opportunity for you to see that in more of a prettier approach, something that's more visual and is able to distribute to others within the organization to give them an idea. Next slide, please. Now we're going to move on to the demonstration.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
so I will take this away. We're going to log in. We have 15 minutes, so I'm just going to say if you want a longer demo, this is going to be a quick tour. We're happy to spend time, contact Joey, contact your salesperson, and we'll give you a more thorough demo, but this is just to give you a flavor. So I'm going to log in as two different people. The first one is Maria. She's responsible for overseeing the tax, and then Barry, who's more of a preparer. But I'm just going to try and give you a quick tour flavor of TRCS. So I've logged into my browser. This is TRCS. If you're looking kind of with squiggly, squinty eyes, looks exactly like FCCS because it's built on the FCCS platform. It looks very similar to ePBCS and just this standardized, simplified interface that all of the Oracle Cloud products are looking at or look like. With that, you have the Learning Academy. So if I want to look at some online help and short training videos, I have that. Oracle's constantly updating them. One of the things to point out is that because these products can all talk to each other, I pulled in some artifacts from FCCS. So I have an income dashboard, an operating expense dashboard. I have my long range forecast from ePBCS. So my tax users can just come to one place and see everything that they need to see in here. They don't have to log into FCCS or ePBCS to get additional information. Everything is really streamlined right into here, which makes it much easier for them to do their jobs. A lot of these cards are set up automatically as part of TRCS. There's all this pre-configured content, but I can enrich it and modify it as well. So this kind of similar to FCCS, I have this concept of a closed management piece, a flipboard. I have an announcement up here saying my deadlines are critical. I have my open tasks that I can look at to see what I'm supposed to be working on. As an administrator, I have access to see what everybody is supposed to be doing. But if I want to just look and see what tasks I have to do, I can click on the little person and it's going to just show me what I'm responsible for. So up here at the top, I have an alert just telling me there's a variance. The good thing here is this is trying to get out of the business of lots of emails and phone calls. The idea is that if there is something pressing, everybody can kind of see and socialize it, comment on it right within the system, and so that you would know that I'm working on it. This is something open with the approver, which means since it's showing up in my queue, it's something that I have to approve. This is to review my tax automation. If I look over here at my workflow, I can kind of see who was working on this before. I can have certification questions. So this is my workflow. I can have certification questions. I can put informational instructions in here. Again, having everything right within the system so that users can look at it and see it. I just want to show you one of the things in here. This is all of the different settings that my person that's working for me would set up. This is a really cool one, though. This is a tax automation. So this is where we're setting up those rules for the entire system. A lot of these are going to come pre-configured out of the box, and then you can add whichever ones you need. This is for my current provision for period 12. I have all these different accounts and rules. I can enable or disable them as I want. I can use different types of logic, so I can either pull in the data, squeeze the difference to come up with the amount, or I can look at the movements for it, look at a percentage. So maybe for meals and entertainments, I'm pulling from my meals and entertainment accounts a certain amount and saying that only 50% of that can go into my current provision. I set up all of that within this nice interface. I can load this up as well if I want to. I set this up for my current, my deferred. Really nice and easy, a lot better than having to write lots of VB script rules, anything like that. So I can look at those, my domicile rules. I can do ones for individual entities. Lots of good stuff in there. So after I've reviewed that as a manager, I can then go ahead and approve it and reject it, and then everybody knows that I've kind of signed off on it. Lots of other closed management type tasks that I have listed in here. I can put in links to my tax account reconciliations. So if I'm hopefully using account reconciliation close service, I can go in and have that automatically launch a window there. My transfer pricing, lots of different entries I can go ahead and do in here. I'm going to review my footnote disclosures though. So this is a link into my reports. For those of you familiar with the Oracle products, this is the same report writer that we use for on-premise and for the cloud. So there's no learning curve there. These can also be rendered within, pull them up through SmartView. This is a total provision for taxes report. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to set my point of view. Now, I'm going to run this in HTML, so it's interactive, but this could just as easily be run in a PDF form or in a PDF or sent over to Excel. So this is a report showing me my total provision. I have different sections of it, so my net income, my provision for taxes, and my deferred taxes. What I've done here to make it easier for my users, and actually to tell you the truth, this came from Oracle. This is one of the pre-built artifacts that comes with the system, so I wouldn't even necessarily have to set this up. But if I want to look at this, I can go ahead and look at my provision for taxes. I can look into what's been put in for North America, and automatically, just by clicking on that, it's going to launch another report. This is a report that's a consolidating report, so I start at total North America, and it's automatically going to show me the details of this. The nice thing here too is if I add another entity in North America, I don't have to go back and update my reports. It's going to automatically happen, you know, just very different from Excel, right? So this is my consolidating provision. I can expand any of these numbers as well. So if I want to look at my permanent differences, I actually don't have anything showing up in there. If I look at my net income before tax, I can click on any of these. So if I want to click on North America, again, it's going to bring me to yet another report. So again, instead of having to kind of try and figure out how I want to drill into my data, this navigation flow has been set up for me so that I can look at all these details. So now this is going to show me, I can look at this by different currencies if I want to. My parent currency, I'm in actually US dollar one, so it's going to be the same, but if I were in Europe and I wanted to look at different entity currencies, I could do that. So this is my automated. So this is those rules that we set up. This is where those automated calculations are going to come in. So it's going to show me what the system has automatically calculated, and then any adjustments to it to come up with the total. I can change my point of view right from here as well if I want to. So it's giving me a lot of transparency, a lot of detail right within my report just by kind of drilling through. If I go back to my main report, I can look at deferred in a similar way. So if I want to maybe drill into my corporate, for my deferred, you're going to see, because it's corporate, it's not a consolidating report, but this is actually pulling up something else where I have my summary. This is by all of my different entities within the region, so I can expand those. I have the roll forward of how my deferred taxes are being set up, so my opening balance rolling into my closing balance. Again, this is pre-configured. All of these members are set up within the dimension, and then I can add to them as I need to. So this is showing me my calculated return to accrual. So this is where my accrual adjustments are automatically being calculated. I have a lot of other detail over here. Couple other cool ones to point out, my impact for my change in tax rates. So it's automatically going to calculate if my individual tax rates within a particular jurisdiction have changed. It'll calculate that. The net benefit of region. So I'm looking at a federal report. So this is showing the benefit of deducting my state taxes. I could do, based on what I'm looking at, that would change accordingly. I can calculate automatically my movements from FX. So when I have to disclose that, I have that there, and then I can just look at other features here. So right within, from that one report where we started our investigation, I can drill into lots of other areas. The last area, just to show you in here too, is my consolidated effective tax rate. So if I open this up, I can look at my ETR, and I can see my taxes calculated for each entity. And then if I click on one of these, I can then go in, pull up another report. This is similar to one of the other reports that we've looked at already, but this is showing me for that particular entity just how how everything's being calculated. So the pre-tax, the tax effect, and then the percentages. So lots and lots of detail, this nice navigation flow. Again, if something changes in the database, everything is automatically updated. I'm not going to have to go back in and do any kind of recalculations or anything like that. So it's really nice. Let me close out of this report. I could certainly approve that after I've looked at it, but I'm going to just close it for now. Just to give you a sense of the entire close calendar, for those of you familiar with FCCS, you'll see this is a new screen. This came out in August, where we have the entire close within the standardized simplified interface now, which means if I was looking at this on my phone, it would look like this, very pretty, very crisp. I know pretty is a technical term. I can click right here and change this to a Gantt chart view. So this looks more like a project plan, so I can see everything that has to get done. And then if I click on any of these tasks, I can open it up and look at it. This is very secure, so I'm the administrator, so I have rights for everything, but if I had users who did not have the rights to do everything, they wouldn't be able to. Couple other things to show you, supplemental data. So this is a really important part of calculating your tax provision, is coming up with all this additional detail that the auditors are going to want, regulators are going to want to see it. So this is a way of collecting and compiling the data within the system with the workflow, with tight rules, etc. So this is a tax credit form. You can see this is relational data. So this is text and phone numbers and dates and all of that good stuff. And I have these already set up so that I can populate them accordingly. So again, instead of having tons of Excel spreadsheets that people are sending around and trying to compile them, this is doing it within the system. And then with supplemental data analysis, I can go ahead and export all of that and look at the data or write reports on it to report on it. So lots of good stuff in here. One last thing to show you in here, I want to show you just some of those dashboards. I think that Mike had some screenshots of them in his deck, but if we look at a compliance dashboard, it's going to bring it up and show us just, I only have 2 users in this app, but it's going to show just the status of the close. So again, this isn't somebody keeping track on a whiteboard. This is right within the system, so I can see everything that's been done, what's been approved, prepared, etc. And I can also look at this and try and figure out who's consistently late with their jobs. So I have, according to my clock, I have 3 minutes left. So I'm going to log in quickly. I just want to show you what it looks like from a preparer's point of view. So I can do all of this. I'm not going to show it today. All of these forms and everything that I've been showing you can be opened up in SmartView. The whole close process, supplemental data, all of that can be pulled into SmartView. And just like with FCCS and EPBCS now, you can do all of the metadata maintenance within SmartView as well. So it's really nice. It's a cool feature. I log in as Barry now. Now he has kind of different cards. He has less tasks that are open for him. These are just coming from EPBCS. He doesn't need to look at FCCS. The same operations dashboard, but if he opens up the operations dashboard, it's only going to show his stuff. I just want to focus for a minute on one of these sets of forms. Again, we have lots and lots of them, but this is a form for calculating the current provision and for making adjustments to it. So if I want to look at this form, this is my automated column, again, is my column of what's automatically being calculated by the system. If I want to put in any types of adjustments here, maybe a topside adjustment or a transfer pricing adjustment, let's say I need to do that kind of adjustment. As soon as I type it in, it's going to say it's yellow, showing that it's changed. I can put in a column, a comment here. Sorry, I can put in a comment. Okay, let me save it first. But I can put in the adjustment. As soon as I save it, everything is going to recalculate here. Thought I saved it. Okay, sorry about that. I'm clicking too fast. And so as soon as I save it, it's going to calculate it. It's going to roll on down. And then if I want to go in and just see the change history, for example, this is auditable. So it's saying that Barry, the old value was empty, the new value is 1,000. So I can see where this happened. And then I can put in comments if I want to. There we go. And typical typos for me. So now it's telling me who made that comment. Whoops. Okay. So this is just a current provision one. I can go ahead maybe and look and see if other people have put in comments in here. They would show up and I can see the audit history for everyone else. So again, this is just one of the forms. This data could also be loaded up from another source if you had it there. This is for my temporary differences. So kind of the same idea where I have my different columns for my automated and my manual adjustments. In here, that one is blue, so I can see that somebody already put in a comment about the capitalized software and it's just based on a new ruling. So I can really use this very schedule driven. These schedules come from Oracle with TRCS. I don't have to set them all up, but I can enrich them with the accounts that I want to. Just one other thing to show you in here is I have these kinds of dashboards as well, where I can look at my statutory rate versus the effective tax rate. So this is just for US, but I can look at it for any of my jurisdictions. I can look at different forms. I can run reports in here. Lots and lots of functionality. Very tough to show off all of it in 15 minutes. And I'm speaking incredibly fast, so I apologize for that. But just a quick tour of TRCS. And again, if you want to see more details, have other questions, please reach out to us, and we're happy to spend a lot more time going through it. With that, I'm going to send it back to Joey if you had any closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you both to Deborah and Mike for such a comprehensive presentation. I know it's a lot of information to fit into 30 minutes, but you guys did a great job. Email any questions to info@ranzel.com and we will provide a response. I know we had a couple questions come through the queue that we can respond to via an email. So don't think that you're being ignored. A recording of this webinar will also be available on our website, where you may also find a number of previous webinars posted. We hope you gained insight from today's webinar. Please visit our website to learn about and register for upcoming webinars, and follow us on social media to get alerts about upcoming events, training, and webinars. Thank you to our audience for joining us today, and thank you to both Deborah and Mike once again for sharing your knowledge and expertise during this presentation. This concludes today's webinar.